Hello students, let us do some problems on our previous lectures. So I am going to take one problem. Okay, a three phase 400 by 200. 400 means stator supply, 200 means rotor supply. Star to star, that means stator is star connected as well as rotor is star connected. Wound rotor is nothing but slip ring induction motor. So we have two types of induction machines. One is slip ring induction machine, another is squirrel cage induction machine. Right, you know there are two types of induction machine based on the rotor construction. So our slip ring induction motor can also be called as wound rotor. Okay, wound rotor. Okay, and squirrel cage induction motor is called as cage rotor. Okay, this is the difference. Whenever they mention wound rotor means we are dealing with slip ring induction motor. So that is the idea. Okay, so let us see the problem. We have a slip ring induction motor star to star connected and supply is 400 by 200. Okay, what is given? He given 0.06 ohm per phase rotor resistance and 0.3 ohm per phase standstill rotor reactance. That means we have given data is rotor resistance R2 per phase equal to 0.06 ohm per phase, and rotor standstill means our S is replaced with 1. Okay, there will be no need to mention S. So only X2 here. X2 per phase is 0.3 ohm per phase. So what is asking to find the additional resistance, that means external resistance required in the rotor circuit to make the starting torque equal to maximum torque. Okay, this is the condition. Okay, in order to make the starting torque equal to maximum torque, he is asking what is the external resistance you are going to add to slip ring induction motor such that our starting torque of induction machine will be equal to maximum torque. We have a relation between starting torque and maximum torque. We have obtained the relation between which is 2 times A by 1 plus A square here. Okay, this is the relation between starting torque and maximum torque. What is A here? A is the slip at maximum torque condition, that is R2 by X2 here. Because we are dealing with slip ring induction motor, which is also called as wound rotor, we need to add external resistance in the rotor circuit, that I am going to take as Re. So this is my A here. A is nothing but A equal to R2 plus Re by X2. So he given at starting torque, T starting torque equal to T maximum. So at starting our slip Ra equal to 1. Okay, because these two are equal, I can consider this as 1. Okay, our starting torque equal to maximum torque, so this ratio will become 2A equal to 1. And because our A is 1, what will happen to this? This will be R2 plus Re by X2 equal to 1. Okay, we can substitute the R2 and X2, we can get the external resistance that to be added to rotor circuit to make starting resistance equal to maximum resistance, maximum starting torque equal to maximum torque. Okay, so what are the values here? R2 is 0.06 plus Re is to be find, and our X2 is 0.3 which equal to 1. So 0.06 plus Re equal to 0.3. So Re equal to 0.24 ohms. Okay, this is the amount of external resistance. Re is nothing but external resistance to be added in rotor. Okay, this is the external resistance per phase added to the rotor circuit, which is also per phase. Okay, so this is the idea. We have to find out the external resistance to make our starting torque equal to maximum torque. So at the starting torque, our slip is 1. Okay, in order to get starting torque, we need to equate R2 plus Re equal to X2. Okay, that's why we are adding external resistance to make the ratio equal. So this is one question. Let us do another problem. So we have another problem, that is a 12 pole 600 volts 50 Hz star connected induction motor. Here star connected is referred to rotor circuit. Okay, has our rotor impedance R2 and X2 as 0.3 and 0.5. So our given data is number of poles is 12, frequency is 50 Hz, and rotor resistance per phase 0.03, and rotor reactance per phase is 0.5. Okay, now what is he asking? He is asking to calculate speed of maximum torque. That means speed of the rotor at maximum torque condition. So for that we have to calculate slip at maximum torque condition. Okay, in order to find our rotor speed at maximum torque condition, okay, we need to find our slip at maximum torque condition, that is Sm here. Okay, so if we can find the slip at maximum torque condition, we can find the speed at maximum torque. Okay, now second one is ratio of full load torque to maximum torque. We have obtained the relation between full load torque and maximum torque as 2 times our slip at maximum torque into full load slip by slip at maximum torque square plus full load slip whole square. So this is the ratio between full load torque and maximum torque. Okay, if the you have to find out the ratio between full load torque and maximum torque if the full load speed is 495 rpm. Why did he give full load speed? So we have to find out the slip at full load, so we can find out the slip by using full load speed. Okay, so the given data is our number of poles, frequency of supply, rotor impedance, and what is to be find our speed at maximum torque condition and the ratio between full load torque and maximum torque at given speed 495 rpm. So let us consider our first problem, that is our speed at maximum torque condition. So I have to find the rotor speed at maximum torque condition. For that I have to calculate our synchronous speed and our slip at maximum torque condition. So this is my expression for speed at maximum torque condition. I have to find out our synchronous speed and our slip at maximum torque condition. So our synchronous speed can be found out by ns equal to 120 into supply frequency by number of poles. So what are the number of poles here? 12. Okay, the given data has number of poles is 12 and supply frequency is 50 Hz. Okay, by using this data I can calculate my ns synchronous speed equal to 500 rpm. Our synchronous speed is 500 rpm. Now I need to find out my slip at maximum torque condition. You know the expression for slip at maximum torque condition is R2 by X2. Okay, here the given R2 is 0.03 ohm per phase and given X2 is 0.5 ohm per phase. If you divide both, you can get the slip at maximum torque as 0.06. So we got our synchronous speed and slip at maximum torque. So we can get the speed at maximum torque condition, that is by substituting ns equal to 500 and Sm is 0.06. You get the speed at maximum torque condition is 470 rpm. This is my first answer. Now let us go to second question, that is full load torque by maximum torque. Okay, I have the ratio between full load torque and maximum torque is 2 into slip at maximum torque into slip at full load by slip at maximum torque square plus SFL whole square. So I have Sm here, that means full load, that means slip at maximum torque is Sm 0.06. So how can we find out SFL, that means full load slip? He has mentioned a speed that is 495 at full load. This is my NFL, full load speed. So using this and my synchronous speed, I can find out a slip, that is full load slip. Okay, here our full load slip is given by ns minus full load speed by ns. That means this is my full load speed mentioned in the question. Okay, I can find out the slip at full load, that is 0.01. Okay, now I have substituted 2 into Sm is 0.06 and SFL is 0.01 by Sm square plus SFL square. So the ratio between full load torque and maximum torque is around 0.234, which is nothing but 32.4%. Okay, the full load torque and maximum torque are in the ratio of 32.4%. Okay, so this is about our problem. Let us take another problem. So we have a problem, that is an 18.65 kilowatt 4 pole 50 Hz 3 phase induction motor has friction and windage losses as 2.5% of output. The friction and windage loss of our machine are 2.5% of our output. Okay, the full load slip is 0.04, that is 4%. Then compute for full load. First question is the rotor copper loss. Then we have to calculate the rotor copper loss of the machine, the rotor impedance, the rotor input of the machine, the shaft torque and our gross mechanical torque. Okay, so before going to that, I need to derive one simple relation, that is we have the relation between torque speed and our power as like this. This is the power equal to torque into angular velocity. Okay, so we have, that is torque into our angular velocity when considered to linear 2 pi n by 60. Okay, this is what? So our torque can be equal to 60 by 2 pi times, okay, P by n. Okay, this is the expression for torque, which is further simplified as 9.55 P by our speed. So this is the expression for torque here. So in order to find out the torque, we need to find out the power and speed at that torque. Okay, so this is the relation for torque, which is 9.55 power by speed. Okay, so now let us see what is the given data in the question. An 18.65 kilowatt means this is the output of the motor. Whenever a 3-phase induction motor given a kilowatt rating, that is the output of the motor. So the motor output is 18,650 watts and frequency is 50 Hz and number of poles are 4. And the friction and windage losses nothing but, here the friction and windage loss of our induction motor are nothing but mechanical losses. So these are our mechanical losses of our machine. Okay, the friction and windage losses of the machine are rotor mechanical losses. So they are 2.5% of the mechanical loss are 2.5% of power output. That means which is nothing but 2.5 by 100 into what is the power output here, which is nothing but 18,650. Okay, so what is the value of our, what is the value? calculate so the value is 466 watts. The mechanical losses in the induction motor are 466 watts. Okay, so if you add these mechanical losses to air gap power, that means gross mechanical power. Okay, if you add this mechanical power to if we add this this mechanical losses to our net power output, this will become our gross mechanical power output. That means the net mechanical power output plus our mechanical losses will equal to gross mechanical power output. Okay, so let us see. That means our mechanical losses are 466 watts here. Okay, we have a relation between our rotor input and rotor copper loss to gross mechanical power output equal to 1:S:1 minus S. Okay, this is the expression. Okay, so this is my mechanical losses, these are my power output. Okay, if I have to get the gross mechanical power output, I can add our mechanical output, the motor output plus mechanical losses. That means 18,650 plus 466 will be my gross mechanical power output. Okay, if I add motor output and motor mechanical losses, I get the equivalent gross mechanical power output, that is equal to 19,116 watts. So this is my gross mechanical power output. Okay, this is one of the components of this ratio. Okay, if I have to calculate my copper loss, rotor copper loss, I can consider my gross mechanical power output. Okay, gross mechanical power output PGM. Okay, I need to calculate the rotor copper loss, so I am using my gross mechanical power output. The ratio will become S by 1 by S, S by 1 minus S. Okay, the slip is 4% here. Where did I mention? The slip is 0.04. Okay, now I am substituting here my copper loss, rotor copper loss. R copper loss means my rotor copper loss. Okay, this is my copper loss. My rotor copper loss is S by 1 minus S into my gross mechanical power output. This will become 0.04 by 0.1 minus 0.04 into what is the gross mechanical power output I got by adding motor output plus mechanical losses. I got gross mechanical power output, that is 19,116 watts. Okay, I am going to calculate the rotor copper loss by substituting those values. The rotor copper loss is around 796.6 watts. So I obtained the rotor copper loss using this expression. For that I need our gross mechanical power output. So how can I get gross mechanical power output? My gross mechanical power output equal to motor output by motor output plus mechanical losses. Okay, my motor output plus my mechanical losses will add up to my gross mechanical power output. Okay, so this is the idea. My gross mechanical power output is 19,116 watts, and my rotor copper loss is 796.6 watts. Now I am going to calculate the rotor input. Okay, now I am going to calculate the rotor input. Okay, the rotor input is the second option. The rotor input is rotor input. Okay, how can we find the rotor input using this expression? I have rotor input and I need to find the rotor input. I have rotor copper loss and I have slip. Okay, so the rotor input can be found by my copper loss. That means if I make the ratio like this, rotor input by rotor copper loss equal to 1 by S, I can find out the rotor input easily. That means rotor input is rotor copper loss into 1 by S. R means loss here, power. Okay, don't try to, this is my rotor input. R input is rotor input. Okay, so the rotor copper loss earlier we got is 796 watts, 796.6 watts, and I am going to substitute the slip value, that is 0.04 here. Okay, the slip will be 1 by 0.04. So the rotor power input, our option B, the question number B, okay, is rotor power input. Input will become, what is the value here? That is 19,912.5 watts. This is my rotor input. Okay, this was the rotor output, this is the rotor input. Okay, the rotor input minus rotor copper loss minus mechanical losses will give my rotor input. You can add, you can write that is rotor input is nothing but rotor output plus my rotor copper loss plus my rotor mechanical loss. These three will add up to my rotor input, that is nothing but 19,912 amps. If you want any clarification, you can add. So if you have any doubt, you can add up all the values. Rotor output is given data 18,650 and rotor copper loss is, what is the value, 796 6.6 watts plus mechanical loss are 466 watts. Okay, this will add up to my 19,912.5 watts, my rotor input. Okay, all these values will add up to my rotor input is nothing but rotor input is supplying rotor output, rotor copper loss and rotor mechanical losses. Okay, input should be equal to output plus mechanical losses plus copper loss. Okay, so this is my second question. Rotor input, the value is rotor input is equal to 19,912.5 watts. Okay, now let us see the third option, that is shaft torque. Okay, what is the shaft torque here? Here I earlier told you shaft torque equal to 9.55 into power rate shaft, that is output power by speed of the machine, NR. Okay, so what is the NR here? NR is the speed of the rotor, which can be calculated using synchronous speed and slip. That is, my synchronous speed is 1500 rpm. Okay, I can calculate the synchronous speed using slip and number of poles, and the slip is 0.04. The speed of the machine is around 1440 rpm. Okay, the speed of the machine is around 1440 rpm. 1440 rpm. Okay, now you can calculate the shaft torque, that is 9.55. My shaft power is nothing but my output power, motor output power, which is nothing but 18,650. Okay, 18,650 by speed of the machine 1440. So what will be the shaft torque here? That will be 123.7, and the units for our torque are Newton meters. Okay, so this is the shaft torque. Now let us find out the gross mechanical electromagnetic torque. Gross electromagnetic torque. Okay, let us find out the gross electromagnetic torque, that is T gross electromagnetic torque. That means TSH is after substituting mechanical losses. Okay, this is my TSH, I find it as TSH. Okay, this is my T gross mechanical, this is my gross electromagnetic torque. Okay, this torque is related to power at gross mechanical power output. Okay, and this torque is related to output power. Okay, the shaft torque is related to output power and my gross mechanical torque is related to gross mechanical power output. In between these two there will be mechanical losses. Okay, mechanical losses, friction and windage losses. So you have to subtract mechanical losses from gross mechanical power output in order to get our output power. That means if I subtract my mechanical losses here, okay, that will equal to my power output. That means this torque will be more compared to my shaft torque. Okay, our gross electromagnetic torque is given by P gross electromagnetic torque equal to 9.55. The power here is gross mechanical power, P gross mechanical by speed of the rotor. Okay, so what is the gross mechanical power output we have? That is 19,116 here, and the speed of the motor is 1440 rpm. So what will be the gross electromagnetic torque we get? That will be 126.8 Newton meters. Okay, 126.8 Newton meters. You can see that this is my gross electromagnetic torque and this is my shaft torque. You can see our gross electromagnetic torque is more compared to my shaft torque because it has to supply our mechanical losses also. So this torque is produced in the rotor before mechanical losses and this torque will be after mechanical losses. Okay, you can correlate them. Okay, this is about shaft torque and gross mechanical torque. Okay, in the next class we will be discussing another set of problems so that you can better understand the machine concept, induction machines. Okay, thank you.